All right, y'all, let's get right to it. Doing this new form of content where I make 5 to 8 minute videos of some sort of discovery, something important, something I think is worthwhile to share with people. Hopefully you like that kind of short to the point version, and then I'll take that same topic, make a longer form version of it for the more detail oriented go-getters. Now, what's the big whoop? It's basically I figured out how to have 100% occupancy in Gainesville, practically, probably all the P's. It's pretty cool. Now, I got 5 bullet points for you today. Now, the discovery. Basically, how did I discover this? Now, if you're a real one, you know I was managing a property. I am managing a property closer to the airport, a little bit further out of town. I was trying to figure out how to furnish it, who it would cater towards. Generally was not really 100% on how it would perform. Now the results are in. Basically, we're about 6 months later, and I'm going to tell you what I found. Now, basically, it was performing almost identically to other properties, like closer or to campus or closer in Gainesville, all kind of doing the same sort of stuff, priced it similarly, or just priced it based on the size of the house, a little bit of a deduction just for the location, worked fine. Ironically enough, now that we're getting into the perceived bigger time of the year, big season where these football games are going for $1 million, this property is not getting booked. Now, it probably should, if I've learned anything, it is perhaps that people are coming to town for literally one reason, and they literally want to be as close as possible to the campus. They're willing to pay premium for it, and that outweighs significant price deductions to be like 30 minutes away. Has not been successful in capturing their revenue. However, because of that, trying to branch out, trying to figure out what to do, we've come across medium-term rentals. Now, if you know anything about Gainesville, I'm sure you do, short-term rental, long-term rental, real estate guy, all the, anything to real estate, you understand that medium-term rentals are popular, and that is a probable course of action for a lot of investors. And medium-term renting is basically anything, in my definition, is anything over a month and under 12 months, right? And we get a lot of those because of travel contracts for professionals working at the hospital. We get it for students doing for graduate programs and such. So that works. People have always talked about that, but I'm kind of just stubborn, and until people draw it out for me and say, hey, this idea works and this is how I made it work, I don't really conceptualize it. However, I did conceptualize it, and it seems to be working. So how do we do this? If you watched previous videos, multiple channels is really important, right? So we're on Big 5 right now. I say you should be on Airbnb, Vrbo. You should have direct booking capabilities, and this new one, Furnished Finder, right? And now going back, I'm realizing I forgot the 5th one, which is booking.com, right? And this is just important to mention all 5 because when I had first listened on Vrbo and booking.com, these other avenues, they advertise through Vrbo, through booking.com on other channels like Kayak or TripAdvisor, like these random things. It comes up in search results, right? So by adding these other channels, you also get more exposure through that. So that is the 5th one. You probably know about Furnished Finder. You probably heard people talk about it. It is pretty good. Seems to be working well. The biggest selling point for me is that people actually seem to be using it, right? So people can say, oh yeah, medium-term renters, yeah, we do this, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't tell me where they're coming from, how you're getting them, where they're showing up, the numbers, tangible evidence, I don't really know. But Furnished Finder, the first 7 days of us having it up, got 1,000 impressions, right? So basically we can tell that the people that we're looking for, these medium-term renters, are using this app, and they're using it for Gainesville. So it's pretty epic. Now, this is kind of just a more concentrated effort of my previous pricing strategy, right? Previously, through Airbnb, you just cast a wide net. We're doing length of stay discounts to incentivize a bunch of different stays, right? So anything from a month and beyond to a 2-day stay, right? So this was already kind of ingrained into the pricing strategy, but we're basically taking that target, what are they called? Segment, that market target segment, that segment of customers that are looking for medium-term renting, and then we're finding where the majority of them are, and then we're literally advertising to them, which is all done through Furnished Finder. So yeah, it's been really cool. Now, what are some practical applications of this, right? So for example, last year, September was it was just terrible, absolutely terrible for every single Airbnb I listed. No matter what I did, it just seemed to be some major failure, or maybe just some crazy, market trend, but only had the football days booked, and maybe here and there we got a booking. But to prepare for that, we've gone on this platform, right, Furnished Finder, and I'm advertising months in advance to potential people or potential renters for that specific time frame, right? So we could get that month right, scooped up, and we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to like have a race to the bottom, fight all these other people, do all that sort of stuff, right? So I hope that all makes sense. Now, an important caveat, which I have for number 5, if you can believe I went through all 5 of these bullets, is you might not want to be 100% occupied. So this is just an advertisement for the possibility, or like the different avenues, different channels that are working to make your investment work, but you might not necessarily want to be 100% occupied. And just, I guess, for a little tidbit, another thing that I learned recently is that in Gainesville, a lot of people they're not very price savvy. They don't have a very good pricing strategy. I was hyper discounting days in the short term to scoop up inventory, right? So for example, if there's a date tomorrow that's unbooked and my regular price is $100, I'll bring it down to $40 just to get it, right? Because once the day's passed, you've made no money. So I'd rather get some, especially over the entire month. You got a mortgage, you got these fixed monthly expenses. I'd rather get any revenue than none. But what I figured out is, since it's not really competitive, people don't really understand that or do that, I could take it from $100 to $85, and people will still book because I'm still the lowest. So it's almost better to keep your price higher and do more minimal discounts, and ultimately maybe be around like 75% occupied, because that seems to be the nice little, what do they talk about in economics, whatever the intersection is, I can't think of the word right now, but you get what I'm saying. That it seems to be that intersection where you make more revenue, lower occupancy, because the rate is higher, and you also pass up on these random problematic guests that maybe are attracted when you price a little too low. And last this little takeaway here is, people should be excited about this, because basically you don't need to have a property right next to you to make it work, right? Like if I've learned anything doing this the past like 3-4 years, is that any property can work in this town. I've done pricing, worked within different constraints, done different strategies for townhomes, 5 bedrooms, one bedroom, parts of a home, close to campus, far from campus. Like, everything seems to work. So at least everything that I've worked with so far in some capacity. Maybe it's not ideal, but basically we could always squeeze the most out of what you have, right? And short-term renting gives you that avenue. So yeah, hopefully that's 5 to 8 minutes. See ya.